the answers you wanna know. Like and subscribe, don't miss the scene. It's a world of sparks and a glowing screen. Mega energy taking flight. House sparks, mega worldwide tonight. Dreaming colors, electric bright. Streaming loud every day and night. Unplug from the norm you've known. Step into the spark zone. Like and subscribe, don't miss the scene. It's a world of sparks and a glowing screen. Mega energy taking flight. House sparks, mega worldwide tonight. Feel the charge, it multiplies. Through the cosmos and up it flies. Every click builds up the stream. Welcome to the mega dream. Like and subscribe, don't miss the scene. It's a world of sparks and a glowing screen. Mega energy taking flight. Have sparks, mega worldwide tonight.
We're about to get going. Hit that like, everybody. Oh, shit. There we go. Yeah, it's working. All right. Yes. What's up, Twitch people? Could we get a hype train or two today? Is that possible? Have we forgotten all about that? That'd be nice. All right. I think we're ready to roll. Man, my mic looks super hot on that thing. What's happening? Check. I think it sounds all right. Let's give it a try. What's happening? Hi, welcome to the show, everybody. It's Hal Sparks, Megaworldwiide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc. I'm in the basement right now. I'm in the bunker. Because along with my buddies, the Ayatollah and Xi Jinping, and occasionally the bitch coward Trump, it's good to go down to the bunker. I don't actually feel afraid and that I need to be down in the bunker. It's more like I just have some cleaning to do. You know how it's one of those things where you just have done all the tidying you can do upstairs, and now it's time to move down into the missile silo underneath your house that you turned into a sub-basement. Hi, everybody. Hello. If you're in the chat room right now, give us a little thumbs up, a little hello, a little hi, how do you do? And if you're not in the chat right now, and you're not going to be in the chat, and you know who you are, I just want to thank you for being here. I just want to thank you for sitting back and doing what you're doing while the show's going on, and you're on the elliptical, or you're driving cross country, or delivering food, or whatever you're doing. Thank you for sharing your ear holes with me. You know, keep the pedal to the metal and the thing to the floor. And yeah, and hiya, hello, hola, ¿cómo está? Bienvenidos, bonjour, ni hao, schön dich zu sehen. Yeah, we'll get, we have, it's another one of those days where I just have too many goddamn clips. Like at some point, like if I'm going to have an AI do anything for me, I'm going to like go, hey, watch my show and see all the parts where I jump in and I'm like, hold it a fucking second. Grab those clips and then just put them in a little bay so I can just pull those up. And what it'll do is it'll go, asshole, you stop every 2 sentences. So I don't even know what I'm supposed to cut. Well, if they didn't lie so much, I wouldn't have to stop as often. Or, you know, and granted, they don't lie that much probably, but I'm a nitpicker about language. And also, I would like to say that sometimes the setup for their lie is long and drawn out in my own defense. So I have to sit there and go, all right, keep going. Nope, pause, right? Thank you very much for saying sorry about my paps. I appreciate that. W is scared. There's so much to cover. I asked for it this morning, and CSL, by the way, give it up for our mods and everybody that's in the chat that's helping us out and helping us make sure that maggots feel comfortable here, but only as comfortable as they do in the rest of their lives, so barely. But also so that I don't have to deal with these people on Facebook who apparently dump these big ad campaigns for squirting horse paste up your rear to cure hepatitis or whatever the hell, and witch doctors that sell, you know, magic toothpaste or candles. I don't know what that is. But there's always big blurbs of it once we get rolling. I can tell by the topic. Today we're going to talk about some of the ice coverage. Obviously, yes, I'm not running it from Tucker's long lost cabin. No, I'm the guy up the hill from Tucker who looks at this dude who had his little house trekked in and built by contractors. All right, so I asked, and CSL, thank you so much for finding this for me. Lana Douche, ladies and gentlemen, the former head of the NRA, who's got her own little show where she plays a bored mean girl. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is her take on the shooting in Minneapolis and having firearms at protests. Now, I'm guessing, like all other NRA heads, they feel that you should be able to be armed to the fucking teeth anywhere you go. And if anything, I should be shooting people that are throwing rocks and water bottles. Because if you're carrying a gun, you're a fine American.
The killing of Alex Preddy has raised concerns among a group of Americans not known for criticizing the Trump administration, advocates for the Second Amendment.
Ha! You don't say. Who told you, Pitt? Who told you? Didn't I tell you? I told you.
The federal government says part of the reason he was killed is because he had a gun. But Preddy was licensed to carry, and the video shows that the weapon stayed in his waistband. One Trump administration official said online, quote, "If you approach law enforcement,"
yeah, that's the gun being removed,
"with a gun, there is a high likelihood they will be legally justified in shooting you." Here is the NRA's response. Responsible public voices should be awaiting a full investigation, not making generalizations and demonizing law-abiding citizens.
You mean they mean people that are toting guns all over the goddamn place. That's what they mean by law-abiding citizens. I would also like to point out that they want you to, like, hey, tap the brakes. We don't want to jump to any conclusions here because he's not one of theirs ideologically.
So joining me now to talk about this is Dana Lash. She's a radio host and
It's pronounced Lana Douche. Thank you very much.
former spokesperson for the National Rifle Association.
Oh, she wasn't the head, of course. Silly I misspoke. She was a former spokeswoman for it. They wouldn't put a woman in charge. What is this, TPUSA?
Hey, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So Alex Preddy,
You're on CBS. You talk shit about them all the time. What do you mean, thanks for having me? Hypocrite!
as you know, had a legal right to carry that weapon, but federal officials like Kristi Noem seem to question why he turned up armed at the protest. You yourself have said that you've gone to protests and you have been armed yourself.
Yeah, there were a bunch of armed protesters at January 6th, we now know, including Ashley Babbitt, who had a knife. In her bag, concealed. In an area where you are not allowed, I don't know if this is a shock to you, to bring knives.
When you heard what she said,
Correct.
What was your reaction to that?
My first thought was I feel like the administration needs to be a little careful with language, and language is incredibly important. I mean, we're not nitpicking and trying to police language.
Some of us are. As a professional picker of the nits, I would like to say for the record, watch your nits around here, lady. Keep your nits together.
For some sort of gatekeeping role. It's because certain words invoke certain statutes and certain penalties as a result of that. So we have a duty to be very, very careful with the language that we use. So I wish that Secretary Noem and others would be aware of that, because simply approaching law enforcement with a firearm isn't indicative of ill intent, nor is it a crime. And as you accurately
Yeah, especially if you didn't pull it and somebody took it off you before you were shot. Yeah, especially being disarmed and then shot should be particularly bothersome, one would think, to members of the NRA who are big fans of concealed carry and open carry, which I would argue is fucking dumb.
said, I have over the years, many years, have been armed at protests, both concealed carry and open carry. I have been right in the front-face presence of law enforcement while open carrying. But there is a difference, though, and I really want people to pay attention to this. At no point was I ever detained, nor was I shot at, or was I...
Gee, wouldn't have anything to do with your status as a spokesperson for the NRA, would it? It wouldn't happen to be because the only reason you would be there is A, well known, and you would probably be in the company of the law enforcement that you were with because they were, I don't know, off duty and paid to guard you?
Involved in any kind of altercation with law enforcement, because I did not insert myself into any kind of federal investigation. And that's what's really important here. There's a difference between carrying by law enforcement, and there's a difference between carrying while in commission of felonious activity. And according to U.S. statute, this is federal.
Yeah, that's, the guy filming what you're doing is not engaged in felonious activity.
Law, you cannot insert yourself or impede law enforcement operations. And I'm sure that this investigation is going to uncover a lot of questions. I mean, we all have a lot of questions about this. We've all seen the videos. We've all seen the angles. But there is a difference. I would never carry and then impede official law enforcement investigation, because then it kicks off this domino effect of potentially tragic circumstances.
Oh, you mean like Ruby Ridge or Waco, where you're selling sawed-off shotguns and you get caught. Instead of coming out, you hold a standoff where your wife and child are killed because you're firing at federal agents. Or Waco, where you're storing grenades in the fucking basement while you're committing acts of pedophilia against children, which is normally in the Trump administration crowd a protected act, I understand. It's like a nature preserve for them, Waco. But you mean like in those situations, all those things that the NRA jumps all over as an example of federal overreach? You wouldn't have done those things. That those folks, like, I guess you're implying or allowing for the inference thereof, like the coward that you are, that this guy had it coming, but somehow bring up Ruby Ridge or any number of fucking maggots that were carrying guns on January 6th.
That I think everybody wants to avoid.
Yeah, Dana, you mentioned impeding. So we were showing the video a little earlier, and I know that in your Substack you say that you have parsed the video the way we all have, the way everybody has over the last couple of days. In the video, and we'll show it, Peretti appears to be helping a woman who was pushed down and pepper sprayed by a federal agent before he himself is dragged to the ground. So when you see that, is that the action in your mind of somebody who's trying to impede or disrupt an operation?
Well, my first thought when I saw this video is what happened in the moments leading up to this, because according to witness statements, and there is other video from a different perspective.
I don't know. What happened when the federal officers rolled up and knocked on the door at Ruby Ridge? Seriously, the NRA during her day was all over shit like this. And it was, and they couldn't care less. It didn't bother them at all.
That's showing him in the road at one point directing traffic, which, you know, you don't have to, it's not necessarily a crime to do that.
Yeah, it's not a crime at all.
But
as a matter of fact, that's not impeding traffic. If you're trying to get people to go around or you're trying to help people avoid an area where shit was going down or whatever, going, hey, you might want to drive that way. That's being neighborly in a very, I would say, Minneapolis kind of a way.
I think this is something else that the investigation is going to will out, and why I think we should exercise caution here, because someone's life was at stake, and I think it
Taken. Someone's life was taken. Also, you could argue that the woman's life was at stake. We don't know much about her, but it might have been why he felt the need to intervene at how they were treating her.
Deserves the respect of that caution and fact gathering. So when I watched this, my first thought was, well, what happens up to this point? It's very difficult to ascertain from the video. It's very shaky when you zoom in.
Yeah, it's almost like there aren't body cams, and that those would be helpful in this situation. Or in the case of, I believe, the situation where the guy's gun was removed and taken away, it would be devastating to the people involved.
It's like a Zapruder film. And of course, it's very chaotic. There's lots of people talking. There is a lot of noise. You got the whistle in the background. But this is what happens with these chaotic scenes.
Fuck you, lady. Nobody mistook the sound of the whistle for a gun being pulled or something like that. And it was not chaotic. They weren't surrounded by a bunch of people. There were people closer to fucking Derek Chauvin. Most of the video shows how much distance is between the rest of the protesters and what actually happened. There's plenty of distance. They weren't, and there were other officers there that, again, training matters, should have been there to, if they were worried about somebody encroaching on the scene or carrying on further violence, they wouldn't have been 100% focused on softening up this guy by punching him, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to get him to turn over, and they're punching him in the process. He has stated he is carrying a weapon. They remove the weapon while they're punching him. If they were worried about all the crowd, they all seem to be 100% focused on him.
Yeah.
Which I think in no part have been unhelpfully created by some of the leaders.
Look at that. Do you see anybody else like looking around going, uh-oh, we're drawing a crowd here?
State who have not walked back their rhetoric and told people, let's not impede investigations, but let's protest, you know, on the sidewalk or nearby, but let's not impede.
Yeah,
I really think those lawmakers have that responsibility to say that. But, you know, to your question really quick, you know, when I watch this, I've got questions. Why was there a need for lethal force? I want to know what the office...
There wasn't. The only reason there would be is if he seized one of the other officers' guns and was going to fire it. By his body language in this entire thing, whereas he might not have been as compliant as he could have been, he put his hands up wide. When he went down easier than she did.
thought, because obviously they felt like their lives were in danger. None of us were there, right there on the ground in those matter of seconds where it happened. So that's why I think we need to let the investigation play out here.
You did say in your Substack that you could see clearly, as we all see, that the weapon is removed from Peretti's waistband. I want to ask you this, Dana.
That's what it suggests.
Exactly. The fear of government overreach has long been the historical backdrop between the discussions around the Second Amendment. When you see masked men, this is sort of a general question for you, when you see masked men roaming our American cities, roaming our streets, asking people for papers, for citizenship papers, pulling people out of vehicles, pulling people out of their homes, that violates another amendment, the Fourth. Are you worried when you see these things that are happening across American
No.
cities right now?
I do get worried when I see high crime rates, or when I see, for instance, I went over this on my radio broadcast last week. I went over the names of over 50 people that had been detained, arrested by DHS in these states where they've ignored these ICE detainers. And what really makes me nervous is the nature of the violent crimes that have been committed by those that they're targeting for deportation, who are in the country illegally.
Right, Dana. Everybody, I think,
whether or not that's.
If you are committing a crime, that's important.
That makes us all nervous.
But asking an American.
Yeah. It's a nice dodge of the question. The principal way to answer that is, yes, of course she gives a shit if federal officers are going to breach your property without due cause or a warrant and those kind of things. And she and all of her NRA asshole buddies will constantly brag up and down how they would, shoot at cops if they step on their territory because it's their private land.
Citizen
Right.
for their citizenship papers, is that something that troubles you?
Well, I feel like that might be a hypothetical scenario.
They have arrested citizens and released them later because they have no indication that person is an illegal immigrant in any way, and they find out that that person is a citizen. It's not a hypothetical. It's a pathetical. Her answer is not a hypothetical. It is a pathetical. It is a shit answer, and she knows it.
Specific that you're referring
But then again, she was the spokesperson for the NRA.
to.
Well, there have been videos that have been shared across social media of Americans being asked to show their identification papers to prove that they're American citizens. A person who was asked to show that he was an American citizen simply because he had an accent. My point isn't to sort of belabor the point that you're making about criminals being arrested. It's just to wonder, part of the backdrop around discussions around the Second Amendment is this nature of what happens when an American citizen is faced with tyranny. And so that's why I'm asking you if you think that these...
He's asking you about your stupid fucking, we need these weapons and we have to carry guns because of a tyrannical government. And then when confronted with an example, a direct, realistic example of that very tyranny, why all of a sudden it's like, well, I mean, we gotta hang out here. We gotta wait for all the details to come in. We don't want to jump to conclusions. P.S. Hunter Biden was selling secrets to the Ukrainians, and Hillary Clinton invented Russiagate. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it.
actions are representative of that.
She's given the total fucking fuck you head lean.
Well, I don't know if I would classify the actions of border enforcement to be tyranny. I think that allowing people to run in the street here illegally after having committed numerous...
Yeah, that guy wasn't here illegally. We're talking about an American citizen, lady. We're not talking about the undocumented people. If they were going after just the undocumented people, like they did during Biden and Obama, and they did it within the law, it wouldn't be a problem. Why the fuck are they even engaged in this kind of shit?
violent crimes, including child predation, brutal...
Yeah, again, I listed off a bunch of people that the Biden administration managed to get, and they didn't have to storm down fucking streets and shoot citizens to do it.
Rape, which, by the way, again, there are like a handful, actually more than a handful of these individuals who have been convicted of multiple counts of these horrific charges that needs to be made public. So I don't know if I would call enforcing that necessarily to be tyranny. However, to your point, and the reason that we're all here today, watching what we saw in the video, I think we all have a lot of questions. And I think, too, I encourage...
No, I actually don't think so, lady. I don't think you have enough questions. I think that's the problem. I think you are, because of your ideology and because of your past history with the organization, you are at a crossroads of bullshitting yourself. That's where I think you are. And I think you're afraid to go any further with your questions because it will fuck up your worldview and be disadvantageous electorally.
People to carry. I encourage people to exercise their Second Amendment rights.
Dana?
But I also recognize that people need to be encouraged to de-escalate as well and make sure that you're not.
He didn't escalate. He helped the lady. He was sprayed in the face. When they put him on the ground, he was balled up and he was leaning over. The gun was in the back of his pants. They took it out and left. He was therefore disarmed, never moved towards his gun that anybody can see from any of the multiple videos. And he's laying there balled up on the ground because he'd just been tear gassed. He can't see. Now, I will tell everybody that if you're ever in a situation like this, go compliant. If anything, go limp, make their job harder for them. And if they harm you from that point on, file a legal case later, but go home alive. That's what you should do in all of these circumstances. File a, any myriad of physical abuse of the physical force laws in Minneapolis, whatever the rules they are inside the city. They don't just get hung on a fucking rung when it's federal troops. That's not how it works. So you will have that at your disposal. And if they're going to take your life in that situation, make them work for it. Meaning, if they have to beat you to death or strangle you, it's going to take a lot longer than just pulling a gun and shooting you. And if you go completely compliant, they can't justify that further action. So in all of these situations, I would say this is part of civil disobedience, being civil. I'm not saying he was being incivil. I'm just saying to protect yourself in any of these circumstances, the best you can do is give up, and then they'll release you later because you were not doing anything illegal.
Impeding any kind of federal investigation.
Dana,
but
really,
therefore,
really,
the administration, they need to be careful with their words.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I encourage also people to read your Substack. It really is interesting. Dana Lash, thank you very much.
The part where she's like, I don't know, maybe, that stuff I said, I didn't really think it would apply to every American, even though I'm all about the Second Amendment of the Constitution for Americans, and we have Americans and freedom and home of the free and brave and free. I didn't really mean that. I never really expected any liberals to carry guns, so shit. That's what this is about. All right, now, moving on to Pam Bondi's been in the hot seat as well. They're trying to decide which woman to fire first in the Trump administration. And since Bongholio quit first, they've fallen back to the other two. And the other one, of course, is after Kristi Noem is Pam Bondi, and this is Liz Wheeler. Where are the indictments? What's going on with Pam Bondi? Besides the fact that she works with Jeffrey Epstein's best friend? I don't know. You tell me. Oh, sorry. I got to play it here first.
Days before President Trump's inauguration.
I was so excited. I was like, oh, shit. We're coming for the cabal. Watch out, deep state. Look out, swamp.
If someone had asked you, do you think the swamp creatures that weaponize the federal government against us are going to be brought to justice in the next year? What would you have said?
I would have said, what the fuck are you talking about? The law wasn't weaponized against you. You're supporting a fucking crook. He's a fraud. And for your purposes, was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. So I don't even know why the fuck you think anybody going after Trump isn't doing everything within the law, or if anything, is dragging their goddamn feet.
You would have said, oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. So, come on. Boss as fuck.
This is what we voted for. This is what we're waiting for. We can't wait. Day one, baby.
Pizzagate. It's going to be solved, and we'll all get a slice. No, wait, that came out wrong. You know what I mean? But
and so what happened?
You voted for Donald Trump, who is complicit in almost every crime you're talking about and is egregiously more corrupt than any politician who's ever sat in almost any seat in the country, much less the presidency. And therefore, we're all a bit confused as to why you think he was going to be the guy to solve it, dipshit.
In the space of that year,
Mm-hmm.
from this time last year,
Mm-hmm.
when our enthusiasm had reached, the height of Mount Kilimanjaro.
That's right. We felt free for the first time. The dream was coming true. Tell us, Liz.
What happened between then and now, when we're kind of, I don't think
Dealing with reality?
so, cynically shrugging, a little disappointed,
Very disappointed.
deflated. What happened? Well, the answer to what happened is Pam Bondi happened.
No. He was going to put Matt Gaetz in that seat, you dumbass. I don't know how, but it could have been worse.
Attorney General Pam Bondi happened. Over the course of the past 12 months, how many indictments have we seen from the Department of Justice related to COVID?
All the ones that are legally justified, meaning 0.
To the federal government giving your money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology to...
Fuck me. All right, do I have to do this again? Do I have to do this, Liz? You're gonna make me do this, right? I saved it. I know I have it saved. Let's see. I have to do a search on here, don't I? Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Let's see. How's that? Hold on. I think I have it under Trump, COVID. I'm looking for that clip. I'm sure you have it faster than I do, CSL, but I'm digging it up. Let's go. Trump, LSP, Trump, legal, Trump, up. It's probably in here. Yeah. Beg your pardon. Okay. Son of a bitch. I'll find it. The Australian interview where Donald Trump admits that Obama turned off gain-of-function research in Wuhan, and I'll be goddamn if Trump didn't start it right back up again. Let's see. Probably going to be in a Trump interview, something like that. Let's see. It's a link. I'm looking for the link. The video. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second, chat room. I'll find it. Hold on. I think it's Trump, Sky News. You know which one I'm talking about, see though. Trump, let's see. Here we go. Let's go to this one. Shut that down. Go away. Put here. Trump, Australia, interview, COVID, something like that. We'll find it. The documentary. I guess it was a documentary. Son of a bitch. I know I have it somewhere. Yeah. Documentary. Let's see. Don't mind me. I have so much stuff in my file now. Let's see. I know. What the fuck am I doing? Find the YouTube link for Trump interview. It's working on it. Found several UK Axios Center. That's the Axios one. Really happened. COVID first. China. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, here we go.
The declassified military games in October.
Hold on. What really happened in Australia? I know it's going to be on here. That's not it. Full meeting. Donald Trump, Anthony Combs. These are the times. Son of a bitch. Where is it? I'll find it. It's the Australian. I don't know why this is just the audio version of it. I need the video version. What really happened? Wuhan Trump interview. Da-da-da. There it is.
I meant more. Do you think it started as early as, you know,
Hold on, back up. That's her. But I need the video part of it.
why did you?
Yeah, here you go. Ah, I love it. All right, here we go. I knew it. I knew I'd find it. This is the Trump interview. Why haven't there been any arrests about who allowed Wuhan money and blah blah? Trump cut the security funding for the Wuhan site, so there'd be nobody guarding the hen house.
Making payments to a Chinese lab. So just that on its face didn't make sense, but I stopped that.
The Obama administration did hit pause on gain-of-function research, though, and that was lifted under your watch. Why did you allow the gain-of-function research to continue?
It's funny. Why did you, as you know, because obviously you're the boss, you know more about anything than anybody who knows the anything stuff. Why would you do that? Let me play that again for any of the maggots we have here in the crowd who might not have seen this before. This is Sky News Australia, who are giving a friendly softball interview to Trump and thinks they're teeing up a kiss-ass question.
Doing that during the Obama years, and when I found out about it, I said, can you imagine that the United States is making payments to a Chinese lab?
Security payments to make sure that nothing escapes the lab and gets out. For I'm just spitballing what could possibly how could that even happen? I mean, it's absurd. Why are we paying this money to keep pathogens from escaping from this lab like Obama was doing? Why would we even do that? And then of course Obama turned off gain of function research there, said, stop the funding on it, wouldn't allow them to do it, and then he comes in and goes, well, anything Obama did, let's just do the opposite. So let's cut the security funding and let's allow them to go ahead with gain of function. And wouldn't you know it, just 2 years later.
So just that on its face didn't make sense, but I stopped that.
The Obama administration did hit pause on gain-of-function research.
That's just good too. Just that the Obama administration hit pause on it. They stopped the funding for it, and there was going to be this giant review. And until that giant review comes back conclusively that it's all right, we're going to stop. We're going to stop. Oh my God, Dave! Thank you so much for the gifted subs or the gifted memberships. That's amazing.
And that was lifted under your watch. Why did you allow the gain-of-function research to continue?
Why did you allow, you as the president, the person in charge of all of it, the guy who was micromanaging everything, who was telling everybody he knows more about ISIS than the generals do and more about COVID than Fauci and the doctors? Why would you?
Well, I think probably people that worked for me looked at it, and at one point they might have done that, but ultimately...
So, no. People that it was presidential, and so you'd have to undo it actively. Asshole.
What we did was we shut it off. We shut the whole thing off. And
nope. He cut security funding.
we stopped making payments that were approved much earlier than our administration.
For security at Wuhan. To keep pathogens in that lab from getting out. And after you cut said payments and allowed the go-ahead of this extreme research again, what the fuck happened? Well, they made one using gain of function and it got out. Now, back to where we were. We were talking with this dipshit. Sorry, what were you saying just before I pointed out the fact that Donald Trump ended the security payments to Wuhan and allowed gain of function to continue? What were you saying there, Miss Binder full of pedos?
Giving your money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology to perform gain-of-function experiments on a...
It's funny. I just feel like, I probably don't have to, but I really do feel like I gotta just one more time for this asshole, just kind of
Done that, but ultimately,
hold on.
research.
Chinese lab. So just that on its face didn't make sense, but I
See, notice how he was slobbering even back then.
stopped that.
The Obama administration did hit pause on gain-of-function research, though, and that was lifted under your watch. Why did you...
That's my favorite part of the whole thing, by the way, is his blink of like, uh-huh. Yes, I did. Because anything Obama do bad. I don't like the Obama man, and everybody liked him. So whatever he did, we undo. Even if it means millions of people will die. So anyways, just leaving that with you, Liz Wheeler. Someone please pass this clip along to this dipshit. Thank you very much. Oh, I've got to push it on here. Okay.
virus that became more deadly because of those experiments.
Gee. And it would be the Obama administration that had turned off that very research and Donald Trump who turned it back on.
Then the people that were involved, the science, lied to you and to me and to the United States Senate. The politicians that locked us down forced us...
You mean, wait. I think, who did lockdowns?
Allow the gain-of-function research.
I remember. This asshole. You do remember who was president in 2020, right? I distinctly remember Donald Trump starting the lockdowns and Biden getting us out of them. Just like Afghanistan. Donald Trump ran on getting us out of Afghanistan and all fucking 4 years. Punt. And then Biden actually does it, and it's the most embarrassing moment in American history. Why? Because Donald Trump never intended to leave. It's embarrassing not because of what it looked like or because of the explosion, but because we gave up Bagram, which was an hour away from China. And there's no way you can keep a base and leave. Especially if that base is surrounded by ISIS-K 24 hours a day. God damn.
to wear
Pay attention to your own shit.
masks, forced us to get vaccines or else lose our jobs. How many indictments have we seen over COVID?
I haven't seen anybody that wasn't in public service and specifically to keep that public-facing job, had to get it or lose their job. Like, that was up to companies. That was not a government mandate.
Zero.
Yes, you're right. Zero people in private industry lost their job because they refused to get vaccinated because the government forced the company to fire them. Zero.
How many indictments have we seen for the Russia collusion hoax that was propagated not just on Trump, not just on Trump's inner circle and members of his first administration, but on you?
Me? Okay, first of all, I'll tell you why Trump doesn't want to look into Russia, or Russiagate, and he can yammer about it and cite assholes like you to get all wound up about it. But I'll tell you why he won't go forward with any indictments. Because the discovery process would fuck him up. That's why. The discovery process would be ruinous. Because the people that were defending themselves within the administration would go, here's all the evidence that we had that we weren't allowed to present in court. You want to relitigate all that stuff, lady? Because I'm glad to do it. Mueller, she wrote, would be right in fucking the front of the line. That's why. The same reason Pam Bondi's not going after Epstein co-conspirators. Because Donald Trump is his primary co-conspirator and is the witness for the other ones. He would have to be called as a material witness because it was, in many of these situations, it was only him and Ghislaine Maxwell and one other person with Jeffrey Epstein. If you don't count the children they were raping, you fucking cretin.
The root of the Russia collusion hoax was undermining your vote. It was anti-democracy.
No, it was pointing out that the Russians inserted themselves in our election in a bunch of fronts, and it was Trump's defensiveness that actually drew that to him, because they did a bunch of shit that I don't think they gave him the heads up on. They were screwing around with elections. They were screwing around. They tried to get into our elections. They weren't able to change any numbers, but they certainly were able to get access to records. They were also running fake accounts on Shitter and Facebook, pitting American groups against each other, posing as Americans with the intent of causing the collapse of our civilization. That's what they were actively trying to do. Trump was not their favorite candidate. He was a chaos agent.
It was the overthrowing of a duly elected president by hamstringing him, saying, you know what, even though the American people voted for Donald Trump, the Electoral College is the law of the land.
Right, because he lost the popular vote the first time.
And President Trump won.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't think you should have won, so we're going to try to subvert you.
Well, part of it is because they don't think he should have won because the Russians helped him do it. And he was helping the Russians in a quid pro quo because of it, because even he thought so.
How many indictments have we seen?
You won't see any. For the same reason I said earlier, dipshit.
From Pam Bondi. 0.
Yeah, it's almost like she's seen some of the evidence and is worried it'll get out. Sound like any other topics you might be fixated on?
What about the Ukraine impeachment?
Oh, that was pretty cut and dry.
That hoax.
Not a hoax. That's also why. That was even the Republicans in the Senate were like, well, he's out now, so fuck him.
Indictments have we seen? 0.
Right, because there's no grounds to indict anyone on those. So really can't help you there.
What about the FBI agents? And these were not necessarily the agents that you think of on the ground. These were the political agents at the FBI who targeted parents like you, who didn't want their children taught critical race theory in public school.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit, lady. The FBI is not interested in school board meetings, no matter how contentious they get. You'll be shocked to find out that they get contentious and have for decades. It's the whole threatening to blow up the vice principal or the head of the PTA or kill the principal or kill the head of the Department of Education in any particular state. That's when the FBI gets involved, when threats of explosives and constant violent threats happen, on somebody's phone. That's a federal violation, and henceforth, that's when they go after you. They don't go after you just for giving a shit.
They didn't want their kindergartner being told that they're racist because they have white skin, or they're oppressed because they have black skin, and there's nothing you can do to redeem yourself from that. It's just how it is based on the amount of melanin that's in your skin.
Right, but that's something you work out with the school district, and still, and unless you threaten to blow somebody's car up over it, you're not going to get a phone call.
How many indictments have we seen for that abuse of power?
There was no abuse of power, and therefore you won't see any.
0.
Right, because that's how many have been earned by the behavior.
What about the FBI agents and the political leadership at the FBI that allowed those
Oh, you mean the guy that Trump fired, or the guy that Trump put in to replace him? Who, I guess, wasn't sufficiently loyal to their commandant?
agents to raid Project Veritas journalists who had the audacity to investigate Ashley Biden's diary, which, by the way, was real.
Also, purchase it after it was stolen, which is illegal, and also for the purpose of, in your words, destabilizing a president and and reversing the votes of the American people, right? Also, just because the diary is real doesn't mean everything written in it is part of the problem.
0 indictments.
Yeah, there's not going to be any of those either.
0 accountability. What about the FBI agents that labeled Catholics as extremists?
Yeah, they didn't, especially under the Catholic president. Didn't happen.
In a memo they didn't intend for you to see.
Excuse me.
They just wanted to target you behind the scenes. 0 indictments. What about the government agents? And we know their names, by the way.
By the way, ma'am, I don't want to interrupt you, but this is a Wendy's. Are you going to get this something that actually could happen? Like something that has a legal justification and exists in the real world? Are we just going to name off like gripes you have and why there's not a law against things that irritate you.
That colluded with big tech during COVID over transgender ideology, about January 6th, that Fedsurrection.
Yes, because maggots are so dough-headed that all you have to do is say, hey, take it easy, and they know that that is code for attack police officers.
What about the government officials that colluded with big tech to censor you?
They didn't, because Twitter agreed some of the time and disagreed the other time when the FBI would tell them that a account was fake or a sock puppet Russian account or those kind of things, and they would take some of them down, and sometimes they'd just go, nah, we think that one's fine. And there was never any threat to them until Trump got in. I will say that once Trump got in, he started threatening media and social media that if they didn't, bow to his whims, then he would send the IRS after them or somebody else like that.
When you said actually a man can't be a woman?
When a man can't be a woman, you're gonna get the feds at your door.
A man is a man?
You bet it I am, baby. Come on.
You were censored. And you said, wait a second, there obviously was something that happened.
Yeah, no, I don't care what's obvious to you. It's what you can prove in court and what the actual players involved, the federal government and the social media companies, it's what they say that kind of matters. If they censored you, it wasn't necessarily that you said man can't be a woman or a woman can't be a man. It's kind of like how you said it, like because you couldn't stop yourself from using, swear words or derogatory phrases or hate speech or whatever, and that was a violation of their terms of service. If you could articulate the idea in a relatively clean linguistic way, you stayed on the platform. You'll notice Ben Shapiro said the same toxic shit, but never got bounced off any platforms because he's used his big boy words most of his life. But if you just slather a bunch of hate speech all over the place, you might get kicked for being obnoxious. And that's up to the social media platform because it's private property. Asshole.
On the 2020 presidential election, bam, you were censored.
Bam.
Or
until you weren't.
God forbid you.
Or if you weren't.
Questioned the COVID vaccine. Questioned this.
No, again, nobody got kicked off for questioning the COVID vaccine. A lot of them got kicked off for selling ivermectin without a license, I guess. Or I don't know, maybe they worked for a horse farm.
Science, Dr. Fauci himself, government officials directed big tech organizations, platforms to censor you.
No, they warned them about the ramifications of it, and the big tech companies agreed because, oddly enough, they didn't want a bunch of their customers to die. Also, one of the reasons, and I want to state this again, chat room, if I may, point of order, Mr. Chairman, one of the reasons why a lot of right-wingers still believe this, other than their undying fealty to Jeffrey Epstein's wingman, and their complete memory hole about the fact that he was president in 2020, the whole year. He didn't quit being president in April, as his graph showed that he keeps showing. I would like to remind everybody that one of the reasons why they believe this is because they also believe the Chinese numbers. They think it was fake over here because we lost about 1 million people and China lost 4,000. And so they're like, it had to have been fake. Otherwise, there wouldn't, Chinese people wouldn't have survived it. And the American people wouldn't have died in bigger numbers. It must have been a government plot to kill Americans. It must have been the vaccine because that's what we had that made us different. And then when you find out there's at least 25 million dead in China, more like 250 to 300 million dead, then you start going, oh, maybe the disease was fucking real. And considering its reach and how international this country is and how many people come here from different places and travel in and out, move around, how much cross-state freedom we have, it's shocking we lost as few as we did. Thanks, Joe Biden. But if you heard the numbers from China and you were like 4,000 people died over there, this whole thing had to be fake, right? Chad says, I don't believe that they believe or disbelieve anything they say. I agree to some degree, but with some of these folks. But I will tell you that Liz Wheeler is dumb enough to believe this. I mean, get this. Follow me on this if you can. Come here. Check this out. She thought when she went to the Oval Office, she was going to get new and, I guess, secret special information about the Epstein files. She was going to get all new information about the Epstein files. She thought they were going to give that Donald Trump was going to direct his AG to give them more information. Yeah. Now, obviously, it was the trap snapped shut as soon as she opened it up. She's like, what the fuck? But she believed it up to that point, which points to just how kind of doughhead and gullible she is about a lot of this stuff. And being, like, amazingly suspicious all of a sudden and, like, distrusting. And I don't get it about Donald Trump not giving you that information means that you were dumb up to a certain point, you had a bit of an awakening, and you decided after that point to actively go from dumb to stupid.
How many indictments have we seen of the government officials that used private industry to censor free speech? Zero.
Yeah, no. They can allow anything they want and disallow anything they want on their private servers. They pay the electric bill. I don't know what to tell you. No shoes, no shirt, no Nazis.
Pam Bondi has indicted zero. What about the government officials that staged the raid on Mar-a-Lago?
It was a legally obtained warrant with a viable affidavit that passed every legal test. What about it?
They went into President Trump's house. They raided Melania.
It's not his house. He lives in a rental property. You legally can't live there. He's breaking the law. Nobody gives a shit, but he's breaking the law. I mean, I do, but nobody on your side does. He lives in an event space.
Underwear drawer.
It's like if the Elvis preachers here that marry people lived in the chapel.
For goodness sake. Pam Bondi has indicted zero people involved in that.
Right, because she's afraid of the evidence that will come out that will be devastating to Donald Trump and people like her who gave Jeffrey Epstein his sweetheart deal, and then she could have torn it up, but she didn't because she doesn't give a fuck about the victims. She never will.
What about Fani Willis and the lawfare? The infamous mugshot that Fani Willis gave President Trump. Only President Trump could turn that kind of lemon into the lemonade that he did.
It's still lame and embarrassing. It's still hilarious. But yeah, she didn't do anything wrong either. So,
but that doesn't excuse Fani Willis's lawfare. That doesn't exonerate her from the fact that she abused the power of her office.
No, she didn't. As a matter of fact, I think she went soft on him, quite frankly.
To try to target Trump because she doesn't like Trump.
Well, why doesn't she like him? I mean, there's a lot of ugly, self-involved, rich, white assholes that she could have focused on, right? Why him? Oh, because the other ones never tried to overturn the election in her state and violate the rights of every voter in her state?
About Fani Willis or Letitia James's lawfare against Trump or Alvin Bragg's lawfare against Trump. How many indictments of these people involved in this targeted lawfare against Trump have we seen from Pam Bondi?
Well, none. Also because of the other reasons I mentioned before, which is, of course, that the evidence would be devastating against him. He doesn't want to relitigate these things because it'll remind everybody what a broke asshole he is and what a fraud he is and how corrupt he is and how buddy-buddy he is with pedophiles and white-collar criminals and how much he's been bullshitting everybody this entire time and how much a lot of his properties are even still to this day underwater.
Answer to that is zero. Or what about these inferior court judges who are
nasty an inverted word.
As we speak, stymieing President Trump's agenda.
Oh my God. Just because it's illegal. How dare they?
They're abusing their power, issuing nationwide injunctions. They have no authority to issue nationwide injunctions.
Well, if they're in a particular state and that injunction would have an impact on the people in their state and that it's an interstate thing, they kind of do. That's why we have a federal bench.
I can issue a nationwide injunction too. I can stand up on my chair and be like, I hereby declare that you're not allowed to be this.
Right. And everybody would laugh at you as you probably fall off your chair.
That you're not allowed to do that.
Well, I am allowed to do that. I'll have you know. And I'll see your injunction and raise you an infraction or two.
I have no authority
Right, because you're not a judge, and no one has ever even made you a judge or suggested you be a judge. I don't know why you think this analogy stands.
To say that, it's not legally binding. It's like Mike.
Yeah, we know. But a judge's would be, since they're in a court of what's it called? A court of, I'm trying to think of the word. It's right on the tip of my tongue. The court of, I'll think of it later.
Scott saying, I declare bankruptcy. Well, okay, but that doesn't mean anything in the
Right, but it does if a judge signs off on it. So, checkmate, I guess. Fuck.
eyes of the law, because that's not how it works.
Right, and now you're onto something. You're so close, dipshit. You're so close.
Inferior court judges are being Michael Scott, except instead of a funny sitcom on television, they're subverting your vote, trying to undermine the duly elected president of the United States. And how many of these judges has Pam Bondi?
Well, sorry that you didn't complain when judges did this about Biden and student loans, for example. He was duly elected. He had a majority, of the House at one point. So, it just seems like your complaint is unidirectional. It seems to be, law for thee, but not for me, as it were.
Indicted. 0.
Yeah, because they won't be, because you're an idiot.
What about the people that were involved in?
I'm glad. This is a very long list. I'm impressed with the list, but at this point, it's like, what about the people that talked me into this sweater?
The rigging of the 2020 election.
Oh, yeah, right, because that's not a thing either. He'll keep talking about it as if it is, but again, going back and relitigating this will just get him in more trouble, and every time they looked, they found more Biden votes that have been thrown out. So don't expect him to go over this again. He'll bitch about it on Air Force One or in front of a bunch of dipshits at a private gathering or something like that. But yeah, there won't be any motion on this because it's been asked and answered in the courts, and she'll just fail because they've already litigated this. This is already done.
The illegal changing of voting rules and procedures by people who...
So that people could vote during a pandemic that Donald Trump said wouldn't be there anyways.
Had no authority to change or alter any kind of voting procedures. 0 indictments.
Yeah, that's how it's going to be. Yeah. When are we going to go after this blue sky motherfucker? You know what I mean? The one who made the sky blue all the time? When are we going to indict him? Why can't it be an off teal?
What about all of the NGO abuse that was uncovered by Elon Musk and his crew of brilliant genius nerds at Doge?
Oh, you mean the ones that left with Elon Musk when it failed, or the ones that he implanted in the different cabinets so that he could steal our personal information and keep an eye on Trump and curtail, any kind of attacks that Trump might do against him through their proximity to power? Or you're just talking about the shit they found that you don't like, but you somehow think is fraud because you don't believe in helping those people? Yeah, that's not going to happen either. Oh, by the way, and a lot of the money's allocated by Congress, and it's still going out under the State Department. They're just pretending they got rid of it. It's still there.
0. We've seen...
Yeah, because it's not gonna happen. I'm glad we're answering all of these. It almost feels like this is a cliff notes of the idiocy that a lot of right-wingers believe.
0 indictments. What about the left-wing groups who are committing violence all across our nation and funded by Roy Singham-connected groups? Roy Singham, of course, as he sits in Shanghai, China, sharing an...
All right, this is the dude who is allegedly supporting Antifa, I guess, or paying for stuff. And he's hiding in China right now, and he's sending the money. The problem is he's an American citizen, even though he lives in China, and he can send money wherever he wants. Now do the NRA and Russian money.
Office with the China...
And by the way, I don't even like the guy, and I don't like what he's doing. That said, it still doesn't make it illegal. Until he, tells somebody to take his money and buy bomb parts, or knows that they're going to buy bomb parts, and he gives them the money anyways, it doesn't matter.
Chinese Communist Party propaganda firm committed to the communist agenda denies that he's a puppet of the Chinese Communist Party, but...
Right, but you're going to say, obviously he is. Well, obvious it doesn't work in court.
Obviously is.
Right, that's not she's the AG. I mean, if you're asking for indictments, Yeah, you stumbled on it. Why not?
What about that? How many
Well, zero.
indictments have we seen for that? Zero.
Right, because it would just be him, but just because he'd be donating money, and if that became the law, then the right wing would be more impacted by this kind of money flow than the left is by far. I can tell you because nobody I know is getting some sort of Soros check, no matter how much you assholes think so. But Russia and Tenet Media and Tim Pool and Benny Johnson and all those guys would be in deep shit if people started poking around in where the money's coming from.
Left-wing violence
I don't know why my earpiece is
continues against conservatives.
I guess you don't mean the Democratic lawmakers that were shot in Minneapolis, or the Jan 6 bomber who turned out to be a guy who was sympathetic to what Trump was saying about the stolen election and blamed the establishment in both parties.
Many of these groups have been arrested since Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Oh, thanks for that, CSL.
Antifa hasn't been dismantled, have they?
No, they'd have to be mantled first, I think, is the problem. They're not really an organization. It's like trying to dismantle an organization of people who wear Che Guevara shirts.
This is Pam Bondi's record.
I guess you could shut down Hot Topic.
This is the problem.
No. This is a feature, not a bug. She's not screwing up here. This is what Trump wants. He has directed her to do this, stupid. This is what he's asking from her. Because in any of these situations, if they start digging, it either affects Republicans more in the case of foreign funding in for media figures and the like, or it digs up old shit that was even worse than they were able to get to. If we get to a point where they try Mueller or anybody like that, there's no way the grand jury testimony isn't worked into that and has to be released. And then you think there's a big effort to hide the Epstein files. Holy shit.
This is
stupid.
The constructive criticism. Listen, I can sit here and say this to you dispassionately.
No, I don't think you can. I think you sound pissed, and it's largely due to your ignorance about the issues themselves.
I have nothing personal against Pam Bondi.
You kind of do. She made you look like a chump.
She was.
And by the way, if you don't, what the fuck's wrong with you? If she's protecting pedophiles and she used you to do it, sounds kind of personal. I don't know. Chat room, I don't know about you. Chat room, I don't know if there's any maggots in here. Would you take that personally? I'd kind of take it personally, I think. I would definitely take it personally if Pam Bondi was engaged in a protection racket where she wrote that memo that there are no other co-conspirators and no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein participated in sex trafficking or any of that other stuff, and she used me to do it. I'd kind of do that. I'd kind of take that personally. Wouldn't you say? I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. She's totally dispassionate. And hi, trolls. Welcome, maggots. I know sometimes we get some trolls in here, and I want to thank you guys for being here. It wouldn't be as powerful a show as it is, and it is. My reach is incredible. If it wasn't for you guys, because you pop us out into the algorithm in ways that our regular viewers can't. But on top of that, I would love to ask you this question. One, how long would it have taken you to figure out Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile? Would you have been friends with him for 25 years after the fact? Do you actually believe he's dead? Or was he snuck out of the prison through the help of Russians that he paid $1 billion to as well? And then, because I think the extra 2 is what they gave to the people that helped them do it, and they kept a cool $1 billion for themselves. And if you were Liz Wheeler and you were invited to the White House with a couple of other influencers and handed an Epstein binder to wave at the press, they made sure were waiting outside for when you exited the Oval Office to get this off their desk, to lay it on yours, and then you found out later there wasn't anything new in it, and they were fucking with you and using you for this plot to hide the Epstein files for fucking ever, would you take it personally? Or would you be dispassionate about it? By the way, by going, which is, of course, this is her version of dispassionate. You can look at her face. She's very dispassionate right now. Okay? You get me? Okay? Do you understand? You get me? I'm very dispassionate about this. I'm not upset, but I will not be ignored.
Very loyal to President Trump during.
Yes. I'll translate for people who are, don't understand gibberish. She'll continue to be loyal to Jeffrey Epstein's wingman from now till the end of time. So, yeah. So Jeffrey Epstein's wingman's wingman person. Sorry.
His impeachment process, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Is it though?
Appreciate that. President Trump appreciates that. But I'm not sitting here analyzing Pam Bondi as a friend. I'm not analyzing her as a person.
You're analyzing her as a tool for what Trump wants, which of course is to hide the Epstein files forever and rule as a dictator for as long as he possibly can.
Analyzing her completely.
Oh, real quick. Since I was looking up other stuff, I would like to point this out. Since Liz Wheeler's on here and all this kind of shit, hide this real quick. I made this little graphic at one point, and just want to show this to everybody. This is Jeffrey Epstein's house. This is Mar-a-Lago. It's 1.5 miles away. It's a 4-minute car ride. Jeffrey Epstein's house, Mar-a-Lago. Now, next up, I would like to show you Liz Wheeler, if I may, is in New York. Let's take a similar look at where was Jeffrey Epstein's house. There's Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. There's Trump Tower. Less than 1 mile away. A 7-minute drive because it's fucking New York. Yeah, but what a lovely drive. Right along the park, you know. It's a lovely view out the left side of your vehicle or the right side if you're coming from Epstein to Trump Tower, which he did multiple times. It doesn't strike you as odd that these guys were neighbors basically in every state they lived in, with the exception, of course, of New Mexico, where Trump's allegedly never been. Yeah. So, just saying. Just throwing that out there.
Dispassionately as a tool.
She's a tool, yes, and Trump is using her like a one of those big monkey wrenches they use on a valve, like the one he used in California to let all the water free. One of those things, like you can pull it one way to tighten something that you don't want to get out, or loosen something that you do. And in this case, you thought he was going to use this tool to loosen, and he used it to tighten because he said he would.
Is she an effective tool?
No, she's just a tool.
In achieving justice?
No, she's an effective tool in helping Trump hide the Epstein stuff, because that's why she was the AG of Florida, because part of why he gave her money was because that she would, go after who he wanted her to go after, but continue to hide things down there. She never tore up that non-prosecution agreement, etc.
Is she an effective tool in holding those accountable for using and abusing the government, weaponizing it against you?
No, because she's not going to arrest Trump, if that's what you're asking.
Because they don't like your religious beliefs and your political beliefs and who you voted for and what you say on social media. Is she an effective tool? Is she a sledgehammer?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like in a zombie game where there's a hatch that's going to pop open and the zombies are going to come out, and the zombies in this case are Epstein evidence, and she hits the top of the thing with a sledgehammer to keep it shut. Is that no? That's not what you're looking for? Okay.
Or is she
Epstein's wingman's wing person?
a hammer made of glass?
Hammer made of glass. Once in love, and it was a guess. Used a sledgehammer that was made of glass.
That's how I'm analyzing.
Yeah, you're not analyzing. It kind of just sounds like you're whining.
Pam Bondi here. It's not personal. It's dispassionate.
Yeah, you've mentioned that. You've mentioned it more. It doesn't feel dispassionate.
And we have a big problem at the Department of Justice. We want President Trump's administration to succeed. We voted for him because
to hide the Epstein files.
We share his America First agenda.
Right, which is, of course, obviously Israel first and Obviously, banker and corporate interest first, and oil company first, and anyway, sorry, you were saying. Yeah.
And Pam Bondi has become a liability to that agenda.
No, she's crucial to it. Her whole fucking job is hide the Epstein files. That's all it's ever been. Shithead. I saw the hammers coming from Twitch. That was good. That's a little Thor hammer emote that I put in there.
Amount of political capital that Pam Bondi has cost Trump is something the
Oh, no. I will not let you do that. Not to Pam Bondi. No. No, she has not cost him anything. If you think the damage that's been done by the Epstein files and shit not happening is bad, wait till it actually comes out and the Russia information comes out fully that she's keeping at bay. If she allowed that shit out, that you want to talk about damage.
The president should consider.
God damage.
Aside from his personal relationship with Pam Bondi.
Ew.
The fact that 1 year ago, you sat there.
By the way, you notice how she's doing the thing that I mention every so often about how, like, do you think these assholes were expecting to have this conversation right after the election, right before he was inaugurated, right after the inauguration? You think they were all going, in a couple months, this asshole's going to have Pam Bondi write a memo that hides all the Epstein shit. We're going to have Bongholio and Kash Patel come out and talk shit and say he's dead and it was a suicide, end of fucking story. And they all had that freak out. You think they were planning on having that freak out? No. That's exactly what she's saying. You're welcome.
And you said, oh yeah, we are going to see perp walks and jumpsuits.
Yeah, and I laughed in your fucking face.
Because that's justice.
No, it's not. But I understand why you think it is. But if justice actually happened, Trump would be fucked, and he knows it. So that's why he's instructing Pam Bondi to hide all of this shit. Dummy.
And then today you're like, yeah, we're not going to see anything, are we? The reason that your attitude changed and my attitude changed is Pam Bondi.
Bitch.
The enormous sea change in our outlook, our confidence, and whether we're going to see justice, it doesn't. I know critics watch this show. The mainstream media says, oh, these right-wing influencers and commentators who criticize Pam Bondi just don't want to criticize President Trump. So they picked Pam Bondi as the scapegoat. No.
Uh-oh, she's on to me. Sorry.
We're criticizing Pam Bondi because Pam Bondi is the problem. And yes, President Trump holds the solution. He, of course, the Attorney General, serves at the pleasure of the president. It's time for Pam Bondi, her service to end. Our movement is gaining ground. People around.
Sorry, that was world's smallest violin. This is for Liz Wheeler. Sorry. I forgot. I missed the big twirling part. Boo fuckity who? I want to know love earth. It's good stuff. All right. Next up, Trump described this is a couple days ago, but he described what he got for Greenland because they have concepts of a concept of a thing of something or other. And this will be another one of those concepts of a plan things. I have no doubt. Hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwiide. You're welcome. He got nothing and liked it. He was completely shut down by the head of NATO. And they were like, sure, buddy, anytime. Yeah, you guys, you can sit on that land. And, oh, yeah, it's yours for good. We don't care. You can put a base there. Just leave it. We don't give a shit. You want to pay for it? All the extra money that goes to the secondary support structure outside of base, all the business that's done and all that kind of stuff that has to be done when you're in somebody else's territory. Yeah, bring it, buddy. The U.S. expenditures, just having a permanent base in Greenland or two would, add would add a third more to Denmark's military budget. So they'd make them a bigger NATO contributor, ultimately. So yeah, sit on it, dummy. We weren't going to kick you off anyways. This is just stupid. But anyway, so this is his take on what actually happened after his big talk with NATO.
And that was just a small taste of the major headlines coming out of Davos. But my most influential...
Hello, doing my best impersonation of a brown crayon that has a fungal infection. Flagging.
Review of the week was with the President of the United States. It was a wide-ranging discussion, starting with the new Greenland framework with NATO.
Framework.
That moved markets this week. I asked the...
No, it didn't. He turned off his tariff threat. That's what moved markets. Because his tariff threat fucked the market. It had nothing to do with the markets. The markets didn't get better. The products didn't get better. The companies didn't get more sound. He didn't announce some sort of big investment scheme where they're going to build fucking cloud centers and a military contractor factory on Greenland and its new U.S. land, and it'll be powered by fucking snow, you asshole.
President, if the U.S. will ultimately acquire Greenland. Take a look.
Well, I don't know if I can say that, but it could be. I mean, it's possible. And
Jesus Christ. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hammered Shit.
it's possible. But in the meantime, we're getting everything we wanted, total security, total access to everything.
Access to everything. The ladies of Greenland are going to put out finally. Stop playing hard to get.
Have as many bases, have all the equipment that we want, and
which we had before. What are we going to do? Build a new sub-dock there?
Importantly, you know, we're building the Golden Dome, we call it. It was called the Iron Dome. Somehow the Golden Dome sounded a little bit better.
The Iron Dome is what... that's the Israeli one. And the Golden Dome sounds silly. It sounds like something out of, like, Logan's Run, the TV series.
We have a technology that's second to none. You saw what we did with Israel, and that's our genius that did that, and it's amazing. It's just, you know, it's foolproof, and we're going to be...
No, it's not. Shit gets through. Even the last time when we helped them, some of the missiles hit Israel. Did they just not tell you because they're afraid to give you bad news? And by the way, looking real good, buddy. Looking real good. Sorry, real quick. Where is this? I know I have to have it in here. So yeah, here it is. Beg your pardon. Yeah, let's. There's a nut warning. Sorry. I should have put this up right before the clip. I apologize. Will you ever forgive me? Just terrible. Okay. There we go.
Building it, and it works much better when we have access to Greenland. Just covers more territory, covers it more accurately. Missiles will be more accurate by having it. It's very important strategically as a piece.
Sorry, we're putting tracking systems there? In theory, we would be putting a missile battery there, because that would be a better launch site. I'm sure if we put sensors all across North America and South America, it'd be awesome. Why don't we just throw them down like fucking cell towers?
And we will have everything.
Also, do our satellites still work since you came in? Has Space Force accidentally shot down all of our satellites? Is that what happened? Do we need Greenland because Space Force fucked up and fired on all of our satellites? Is this what we're going to find out when you leave office? I would not be surprised.
We're getting everything we want at no cost.
So the Golden Dome will be on Greenland?
A piece.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah, the whole thing will be launched. But thanks, Maria. Yeah, that's where we're putting the golden. We're going to put a Golden Dome over Greenland, and that's going to be the fallback for the rich billionaires. They're all going to build bunkers there.
But yes, and it's a very important part because it's everything comes over Greenland. If the bad guys start shooting, it comes over Greenland. So we knock it down. It's pretty.
What about the? You know, North Korea and Russia are the. But so if it's coming, I'm just saying it might. I suppose we're going to have bases in Alaska, but it would seem like Vladivostok. Just no, just. North Korea. So so the ones from North Korea are gonna go up and around and circle back. I go, sure, that makes sense.
Infallible. It's amazing. You know, Ronald Reagan had the idea a long time ago, but we didn't have any technology at that point. The concept.
Yeah, none. We had all of our nuclear weapons were flint and steel. They had kerosene rockets. I understand that the early nukes, they just strapped a bunch of bottle rockets to them and went like this.
It was great, but there was no technology. Now we have
there was no technology in the 80s.
Unbelievable technology. I mean, virtually 100%.
So what?
Virtually. Of course, it would obviously help. Thank you for the super chat. Elon Musk. I can't read it. It's so small in there. Hold on. I'm going to bring it up in my chat. Hold on a second. I want to see that. It was obviously something written quite a bit. Hold on. Here we go. Reload, silly. Oh, it's going to scroll past it, isn't it? Son of a bitch. All right. I'll bring it back in a minute. Elon Musk is small, confirmed. Yeah. No kidding. All right. Thank you for that. I'll read it in a moment. Beg your pardon.
Are we talking about an acquisition of Greenland? Are you going to pay for it? I mean,
we're talking about it. It's really being negotiated now.
I don't know. I don't care. They just said, okay, we'll come up with a thing, and you can tell people you came up with a thing, and then we won't make your bases leave.
Details of it, but essentially it's total access. It's there's no end. There's no time limit. We're not doing a 99 or a 10-year or anything else. You know, the famous 99-year deals that you hear about.
Yeah, you hear about those all the time. You know, like Trump wants mortgages to be that way.
Because countries can't do it for that. Countries go on longer. And so I think it's going to be something.
Well, you could re-up it. I mean, maybe they'd want to at some point be able to renegotiate after 100 years.
I think that's.
I mean, it's not like fucking Hong Kong. Denmark controls it.
Very well. Already it's being reviewed very well. Why?
Yeah, big marks. He's got, it's going to win the Tony this year for its level of dancing bullshittery.
Notice the stock market went up very substantially after.
Right, because you weren't going to do the tariffs. That's why it went down.
Announced it. But the details are being negotiated now. It'll be very good.
so
Yeah, notice how the details didn't have anything to do with the stock market. It had entirely to do with your stupid-ass tariff threat.
because the GDP of Greenland is like $3.3 billion, but people are
Well, it's
valuing
not that,
Greenland of
yeah.
between $50 billion and almost $1 trillion. So what are you willing to pay for Greenland?
Well, I'm not going to have to pay anything. We're going to have total access to Greenland. We're
Maria, let me put this in terms you can understand.
This is some bullshit. We see through it.
Bullshit! Bullshit!
That was just bullshit, Joel.
Can't undo it.
Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit!
Just for the record. Hopefully that helps you figure it out, Maria.
have all military access that we want. We're going to be able to put what we need on Greenland because we want it. We're talking about national security and international security.
Yes, in case we decide to fire on the bad guys, we want our Golden Dome to stop our missiles as well. It's a problem with the system right now. It can't tell the difference between good missiles and bad missiles, so it's going to blow ours up too. You know, just for safety's sake. We figured, you know, if I accidentally trip and fall and put my hand out and my hand lands on the football and launches all of our missiles, you know, we figured better have a Golden Dome to keep from blowing up the rest of the world because some of us have relatives.
So we're going to not have to pay anything other than the fact that we are building the Golden Dome, and the Golden Dome is going to be something that's going to be very
impressive, very special.
Amazing. It'll be Israel times probably 100. And we need it. I think we need it. And it's all going to be made in the United States. We have the best weapons in the world.
He's, again, fire a bunch of federal employees and then raise federal contracts on military shit and basically have that money spent inside the United States as a way of, you know, fixing the hole, filling the hole he created. Yeah.
We have the best companies in the world. We want them,
especially Golden Dome companies. Golden Dome Inc. Those guys are awesome.
Produce faster, and we've put a mandate out. You're going to have to produce faster.
Yes, do this amazing innovation, but do it very quickly. And I don't give a shit if it works. I want to be able to stand next to it. You know, kind of like the paper mache missiles in China.
It's the Patriots or the Tomahawks or the F-35s or anything else. We make the best equipment, but they have to make it a lot faster.
And you've said you
Because he's selling it to his buddies.
want a defense budget of $1.5 trillion for 2027. How do you pay for that with a $37 trillion debt load?
Yeah, the money that's coming in is astronomical. You know, we'll be taking in over $600 billion this year alone in tariffs.
Yeah, but you still have a $1.4 trillion deficit, which is higher than it was under Biden. And you're raising the amount of spending. Yeah, it's almost like I'm starting to understand all the budget hawks on the Republican side freaking out and screaming at each other. I don't like them, but I appreciate why they're screaming.
And that's because we're doing it nice and easy. We're not even doing it strongly. We hope we have a good decision from the Supreme Court. If we don't, we figure something else. But it certainly makes life a lot easier if we have that decision that we're waiting for. If we don't, we'll do something else. But
he means a VAT tax. That's what they'll propose next. Is that we need a VAT tax in the United States. Yeah. He's just trying to find a way to pass a tax on the consumer base of the United States without doing it through income tax, because right-wingers always push back against that. But if you make them pay the tax at fucking Walmart, it's harder for them to bitch, even though they'll blame government in the abstract, the federal government, the feds are doing this to me, instead of it was Trump's idea.
we have a lot of money coming in. We have a tremendous success. We have over $18 trillion. It could be when I get the final numbers.
Yeah, since I'm making them up.
Be more than that now, because that was a month and a half ago, but we have $18 trillion coming into the country in the form of investments. We have thousands of businesses being built all over the country.
We always do.
And you see it.
Most of them are two people.
You report on it better than anybody else. I appreciate that. But, when you think of 18 trillion plus, no country's done anywhere near that. Like, that's probably 4 times, 5 times more than any other country's ever done.
Hey, by the way, he keeps citing this number as, that China did 3 trillion at some point, which I don't know what point he's thinking happened, but whatever. That's where he's getting that number from.
And I always say,
sorry,
money goes where it's
quit it.
treated best.
Well, it's
you've
treated
got
good.
the right policies, obviously.
But they want to be treated good. They want to know that, we have a country that's hot. We had a dead country 1 year ago. This was a dead under Biden. You know that better than anybody, but
Yeah, no, she doesn't. She lies about it better than anybody, I suppose. And that's why you go on her show on the regular. But she knows that unemployment was better under Biden, that wage growth was better under Biden, that the stock market trajectory was more even and predictable and better under Biden, that there is no fucking drill, baby, drill, horse shit.
we're dead country.
We're dead country.
Of Saudi Arabia.
Pretty soon, I will join that vision of America as a person.
He said it to me. I use it all the time. He said, 1 year ago you were a dead country. Now you have the hottest country in the world. We're the hottest country in the world.
Yeah, being told that by a guy who threw a reporter in a fucking wood chipper, I just don't find that impressive.
Mr. President, are our relations with Europe deteriorating or worsening? I mean, French President Macron called the Greenland situation colonialism. European leaders have these emergency talks to try to retaliate or stop your plans. You're threatening France with 200% tariffs on wine and champagne. There's been a real reaction from the European group. So,
Well, they put a service charge on us, which is something that they're going to have to remove. I think we get
I think he's talking about the VAT over there.
But, I've always debated, we are always going to be there for them, but will they be there for us? I've always said that, if
You mean like they were in Afghanistan after 9/11?
we ever needed them, because NATO has very much been a one-way street. We actually paid, until I came along, we were paying for, I think we paid 100% the cost of NATO.
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck what you think. That's why it's numbers. That's why it's actual math involved. Your opinion doesn't matter about math.
They weren't paying,
and your opinion doesn't math.
We were paying. We have hundreds of thousands of soldiers in Germany. We have 50,000 soldiers in other countries. We have a lot of soldiers.
Yeah, for our own reasons. I mean, one of the reasons why we have them in Germany is because that base has been crucial to like resupplying our troops in other places in the world, and as a medical station, effectively, for troops that have been wounded in the rest of the world, instead of bringing them all the way back here. Believe me, if the benefit didn't outweigh the cost, we'd have moved out of there a long time ago.
Europe and other places.
And we're not there to defend Germany. We would, because we're part of NATO, but that's not the point.
And, you know, we want that to be reciprocal. We want to be liked and respected.
No, we don't. No. We should earn being liked and respected.
So I've always said, and we get along very
God damn, he's orange right now. That is really orange.
well with NATO.
Sometimes it's very striking.
I think, but I've always said, will they be there if we ever needed them? And that's really the ultimate test. And I'm not sure of that. I know that we would have been there, or we would be there, but will they be there? And let's hope.
I think they're still there. They might be there. I don't think you're all there.
That never happens. We've never needed them.
Except in Afghanistan and Iraq. Except after 9/11.
We have never really asked anything of them. You know, they'll say they sent some troops to Afghanistan or this or that. And they did. They stayed a little back, a little off the front line.
Bullshit. They fought on the front lines, you dumb motherfucker. You bone spurs bastard.
But
Seriously, how dare you? I mean, this is a guy who thinks prisoners of war, that POWs, American POWs, deserve no respect.
We've been very good to Europe and to many other countries. And, you know, now under my administration, that began because we had a very successful first term. That began then, but it has to be a two-way street. And it's been a two-way street, much more so. And now it's really been a two-way street.
So what should we expect from the European countries? I mean, they've got...
He's exhausted and over it. Maria, stop asking me questions. I said the boilerplate platitudes. Platitude, lady. Fucking hell. I'm falling asleep on my feet here. What day is it?
This EU anti-coercion instrument that would be, you know, services, impacting our services, as you said. And then the Danish pension fund said that they're going to exit U.S. treasuries, $100 million treasuries at the end of December. European countries hold trillions of stocks and bonds from the U.S. Do you worry that they would start selling those in retaliation?
If they do, they do. But, you know, if that would happen, there would be a big retaliation on our part. And we have all the cards.
I want to turn to the economy.
Oh, edit. You see that? They edited him there. Whatever he said after we hold all the cards, which is also what he said to Zelensky. And about Zelensky, about how he didn't hold all the cards and all that. He says this, it's one of his favorite phrases. It turns out Zelensky, literally, when he was meeting with Vance and Trump, and Vance was all shitty to him, and they were all trying to bully him into acquiescing to Russia's demands because he likes Vladimir Putin more than he likes any single American, period. End of story. Well, now that Epstein's dead anyways. Although he might be still very favorable to Ghislaine Maxwell. He wished her well even when she was being taken to prison for sex trafficking. So, I mean, that's friendship. But turns out Zelensky had all the cards. They literally were planning this, probably the most successful drone strike from inside Russia ever, with those trucks that came in and the drones flew out of the top of it, and it was just fucking amazing. They did that, and Zelensky knew that was going to happen when he was meeting with Trump and Vance. Didn't say anything, and that's why Trump thought he didn't have any of the cards.
There would be a big retaliation on our part, and we have all the cards.
I want to turn to the economy.
Did you see that edit?
Mr. President, because when I first interviewed you, when you first came back, it was about a month after the inauguration for your second term, I asked you, Mr. President, what do you want the economy to look like in 4 years? And you were very clear. You said, I want the private sector to rule the day. And since then, in the last year, you've taken a 10% stake in Intel. You've taken a stake in MP, Mountain Pass. You told the
communism.
Defense companies 2 weeks ago.
Fascism/communism.
Don't pay any dividends. Don't do buybacks until you produce the weapons that we need. So please explain to our audience, how is that free market capitalism?
Well,
well, it isn't.
Very free market. We have defense companies that were making a fortune. They were buying back stock with all their money, and then they come to us.
Yeah,
for
they're
money
allowed.
if they want.
They're private companies. That's the point.
You know, we want to buy something or we want to have plants built, and they'd say, could you loan us the money? And they'd be doing tens of billions of dollars of stock buyback, so I'm not letting them do it. I want them to put money into, you know, we have the best equipment in the world.
Yeah, you mentioned that part of it before, but apparently we don't make it fast enough, so do you really have it if it isn't made? I mean, just hypothetically, if someone left the cake out in the rain, and you don't think you can take it because it took so long to bake it, and you'll never have that recipe again, oh no. Do you really have a cake in that case? I don't think so. So you have would that be the best cake ever?
Patriots, the Tomahawks, the F-35s, all of our equipment's the best. Other countries want it, and we want it. We need more. It takes too long to get it. And I said, we're not going to do that anymore.
Bailout. Yeah, so there you go. Whew. Holy shit. Now, there's plenty of other gibberish for me to get to. Do I have time? God damn it. Today flew by. Let's go to... we'll end on... Oh, well, here you go. I think there's an announcement that we have to make. Do I have to sign into this? Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Look who's coming back, kids. Look what chicken shit is going to not produce clips from his show anymore. Continue to do that because yours truly scared him off. But I told everybody this is the one show I'm going to make an exception for. Crap, did the Instagram thing stop? Oh, it does sometimes. It stops halfway through. Sorry. Bongholio, this is the commentary you've missed. Dan Bongholio's take on the madness in Minnesota.
If you are struggling to
Why am I
understand
watching an ad?
quiet environments,
I don't like
miss
it
out
with the
on
don't
this chat.
put this banana in your ear pipe.
If you're struggling with gum disease, tooth
then
decay, or other dental
just
problems,
put peanut
you
butter
need to
in
see
a
this.
jar with toothpaste.
Folks, the investigation into what happened in Minnesota has barely begun. We don't even have the takes yet. Official takes.
First of all, where the fuck are you looking? This
during the investigation that's going to happen.
Okay, he's reading. This is written. He's already sweating. And I guess he's going to do a full live show, but he's been doing little pieces. It's like a teaser. Oh, good.
Over what these officers on the ground thought during this assault on federal officer use of force incident.
Well, also, it's not just what they thought. It's also what they saw and whether they knew that one of their fellow officers had already disarmed the fellow.
Was there a perceived threat of serious physical injury or death?
Well, that's what would be to believe. The problem is, was it true? Was it a true perception? Had they received significant enough training to know what it's like to deal with the public in a civilian atmosphere instead of enemy combatants, for example, on American soil?
To them or their partners or anyone else at the scene?
Well, I don't know. When a guy has a gun and your partner takes the gun off of him and he no longer has the gun, even if he's reaching for where the gun was, the gun's not there anymore.
The point I'm trying to make here is the narrative war's already begun and we don't even have all the facts.
Lots of people have viewed the video and all the facts include the fact that his gun was removed from him before he was shot. Also, has that ever stopped you in shitting on someone on my side of the aisle? Have you ever waited for all the facts? Hey, asshole, remember your whole take on the Epstein files before you became part of the deep state?
The media's doing this pylon like they always do.
No, they don't.
Because they want to do one thing. They want to stop the most successful administration in history.
Well, if it was so successful, is it partly successful because they drove you to quit? They replaced you they gave you an assistant for the first time in the history of the FBI, an assistant deputy director, so that they could actually do the fucking work you were unqualified to do, and kicked you to the curb? Is that one of the signs of success? Is that what makes this administration, above all else, stand out? Is that they recognize when they've hired a dipshit and give that dipshit training wheels?
On the border,
Ugh.
violent crime, street crime, and elsewhere, from moving forward and stopping effectively what was an open border policy under the prior administration.
Which didn't result in more people being in the country at all. The net number of immigrants in the country remained constant.
Narrative wars have already begun. Don't fall for bullshit. Friends don't let friends fall for bullshit.
Oh, so they shouldn't watch your show. I got you.
Start from the inside. You're going to hear more about it on my show launch a week from today, February 2nd, Monday, at 10 a.m. here at rumble.com/Bongino. However, some quick thoughts on this. I put
Bongino.com/he's back.
Up a tweet today about it, and I think it's important.
Ooh, you tweeted. That's so much better than actually being a member of the world's most premier investigative body and actually going after real bad guys. So much better to have you tweeting.
And this gets out there. You can see it right here. I noted I was following up on a post from yesterday. Did you ever notice how these liberal media outlets, they work with these black pillars and doomers? Everything's bad all the time.
Oh, this is his current point of attack because he thinks that the right-wing criticism, especially from Candace Owens and people like that, has injected nihilism into the MAGA movement, and therefore they're not going to vote. And that's what he's there to staunch the bleeding on. Essentially, that's what he thinks he's there to do.
Under the guise of, accountability. Yes, accountability is critical, absolutely critical, but so are facts.
Right, and the fact is an unarmed man was shot after the gun he was legally allowed to carry was removed from his person.
So you can't ignore the facts in the...
You're right. Nobody is.
Accountability equation. That's how you get accountability by...
Oh, see, none of us actually thought about that. We thought, the fact that he was carrying a gun, he announced that he was carrying a gun, they took the gun away, then anything after that, if he's not reaching for one of their guns or trying to use it, would preclude the idea that deadly force was necessary in this circumstance. And maybe he's arguing, you know what, benefit of the doubt, maybe Bongholio is arguing for body cams at this point.
Analyzing facts. The Trump administration has shut down...
Listen, Sweaty, is this going to be your new show? Because this is already Ben Shapiro's entire... he might sue you for IP theft, because if you're just going to read your own fucking tweets and that's going to be the show...
Border cross.
So lazy.
To effectively nearly zero. There's no precedent for that. So as I noted in the tweet, the media knows they can always rely on the doomer class and people in the Republican Party, some of them who are just weak and will fold at the slightest amount of resistance.
Slightest. This is our second George Floyd moment in his presidency. You could argue maybe even his third if you could include Renee Good. It just builds on that. Do you ever notice that we get chop and chaz and riots in the street whenever Trump is running shit because he's so slapdash and fucking stupid? And that other administrations are able to gather bad people up that need to go to jail without marching people down the middle of the fucking street or driving armored cars down suburban streets?
When has this ever worked? When has this asymmetric de-escalation policy on one side of the political equation ever worked? Yes, there was an incident in Minnesota. Yes, there will be an investigation. There were incidents in the Biden administration, the Obama administration.
Right, and they were, and people felt reasonably, they could reasonably assume that there would be investigations into said things. And there were. As a matter of fact, during the Biden administration, or during the Obama administration, they started the COPS program, which was this system that could be put in place so that bad cops that were in police departments could be removed. Even if the Fraternal Order of Police or the police rights groups or whatever tried to eliminate that ability, there should be a mechanism by which you can expunge bad cops from these systems so that every other cop there isn't on the hook for what these assholes do. And they put this program in, and what did Trump do? Well, the same time he was letting gain-of-function research start again at the Wuhan lab after Obama had shut it down, he also shut down the cops program. And 2 years almost to the fucking day, we got a major pandemic and the death of an unarmed black man that caused riots in the fucking street. It's almost as if it's predictable based on how this motherfucker does his business, you asshole.
Clinton administration. But I saw it, as I noted in the tweet. Every time they got upset about something, our personnel changes at the FBI, the
personnel changes, you quit.
Massive, unprecedented decrease in violent crime. Some story would randomly pop up, and you'd see the doomers and the black pillars spread it around. I'll get to more of that in a second, but they're doing it now with DHS officials and Trump administration officials who have been illegal immigration, understandably hardliners, which I am too.
Yeah, you can be a hardliner, but that doesn't mean you have to take it out on U.S. citizens. You can be a hardliner and aware that the public-facing, efforts need to be done in such a way that the populace of the United States, the voter base, and the people who voted for you and the people who didn't vote for you, and there are people who understand the legality of the situation, are aware that you're taking every step. Because again, this is not a problem that Obama and Biden had. ICE under Obama and Biden didn't do this shit because they didn't have to. They were able to do their job by and large.
They're attacking them now and attacking the entire policy based on an incident that was frankly anomalous.
No, it wasn't. It's the second shooting in just a few weeks. And there's no reason to believe that it will stop, because they're going to have to deal with people protesting. They're going to have to deal with people who don't think the policy is sound, is unnecessarily dangerous, is very close to a papers, please Nazi law. And so you're going to have to deal with those people showing up. And if you're dealing with civilian Americans who disagree with what you're doing, that's part of their right as human beings. And if any of those people step over the line, you're going to have a mitigatory response to deal with those people instead of opening up fire on them like they're fucking enemy combatants in Afghanistan, you fuckface.
Considering all the work that's been done to secure our border,
yeah, and it's weird that the fentanyl crisis hasn't slowed. Isn't that weird? Isn't it weird that fentanyl is just as cheap and readily available, even though the southern border is completely shut down with 0 crossings? It's almost like that was never the way it got into the country.
Amazing work, heroic work that's been done. Incidents do happen, and we have.
Right, but they just seem to happen more frequently with assholes in charge.
Process for that. Let it play out before.
Yeah, the process is that Nome is effectively already called it. They don't trust them to police themselves with good reason.
You form an output, you don't even have the inputs yet. Here's the media, of course, dogpiling on, which they never do for Democrat administrations.
Because they don't have to. It's not necessary.
At all. Read some of these headlines. Here, Washington Post. This is a turning point in Trump's second term.
Well, no, it isn't. It should be. It's not. The only difference is that some maggots are over it in a way, and it does affect the pro-gun crowd.
Why is it a turning point?
Because it should be? How about that? Regardless of how the citizenry is acting, if a president's policies result in the death of an American citizen who has actively already been disarmed from their legal firearm, which they have a concealed carry permit, there's going to be a reason why maggots might go, hang on a second, we need a change in policy. The rest of us are already there. But that's a reason, the only reason there would be a turning point is if Trump's own supporters started to balk at it, and they already have because of Epstein, because of, any myriad of lies that he's told, the affordability hoax bullshit that he was selling, and now this.
Why is it it was an anomalous incident that's...
Nope. It wasn't. At this point, it's par for the fucking course. We've had 6 people shot, and there's no body cams on these folks.
Going to be investigated, that we have a process for, that is going to happen in the course of a law enforcement activity necessary across the entire country to fix what was the open border policies.
Nope. This guy was not an undocumented immigrant, nor was the woman with him, nor were any of the protesters across the street. They were allowed to film what they were filming. Again, There is no sign that either the man or the woman, that Alex or the woman he was with, struck agents first. They were pushed out of the street at one point, but there's no indication that they acted in any way in a violent way. As a matter of fact, as soon as Alex was told to step back, he put both his arms back up like this. You want to talk about hands up, don't shoot, you dumb motherfucker.
Lawless open border policies of the last administration
wasn't lawless. It was dealing with a rush of asylum seekers due to COVID.
Which let millions of people pile in here.
Nope, didn't. Turned them right around. Sent them right back out. Millions of people did not enter the country. We have a static number of undocumented people in the country. Hasn't changed. Fuck you.
Why is this a turning point? Because you said so at the Washington Post?
No, because it should be, and they're reacting to the fact that maggots and pro-gun maggots are very freaked out by this because the precedent is kind of fucked up.
What the hell do you know about it? You've been wrong about everything from the collusion hoax on. A turning point for what? For who?
I don't know. For the Epstein files. Do that part now.
Here's the New York Post jumping in too about de-escalation. When has asymmetric de-escalation ever worked? When?
What Trump's next move needs to be in Minneapolis. Post editorial board. It's time to de-escalate Minneapolis, Mr. President. Trump agrees. He's sending Homan in and he's removing that dipshit, the pencil neck weird guy that's heading up the troops up there, who's been really tried to be the Polk County sheriff and talking about the bad guys. He's removing that guy as well. He pulled Noam out. He's putting Homan in to try and talk it down. He called Walz in person. They had a conversation about it, and it involved everybody leaving. They're starting to change the process and move out. So apparently Trump thinks so too, fuckhead.
Remember the David Dinkins, the mayor of New York here, when they had the riots up there? There was the whole let it burn, let them do their thing. You saw it in Baltimore as well with the riots. Let it burn, let them let off some steam. It's not the way it works. We saw it during the George Floyd riots.
Oh, you mean the last time Trump was president?
You either stop unlawful activity or unlawful activity metastasizes like a freaking cancer.
No, I mean, I would argue that would be the reaction to why the protests happened in the first place, because they were worried that the unlawful killing of civilians by law enforcement, and in this case federal troops, metastasizes and becomes a cancer, where they feel like they can do this anytime they want to. So the protesters are actually the chemo in this situation.
That is it. It's either law and order or chaos.
I agree, and what happened to Alex was not law and order. I would argue it wasn't what happened to Renee Good, and all of this damage was completely predictable and could have been stopped and was ordered from Mar-a-Lago.
There is no on the margin there. You either enforce the law or it's total chaos.
You can enforce the law without killing civilians in this particular case. And again, other presidents had the ability and better numbers at deportation, better capture rates on violent criminals and violent immigrants. Why are their numbers better if the tactic is the difference?
Here's another one. The New York Times, the Trump administration is lying. We haven't even had an investigation play out yet. How do you guys know that?
Because there's a dead American, and it was completely unnecessary. Why CPB was even in charge of handling protesters is the issue. CPB has been pulled out. Customs and Border Patrol, ICE is staying there, but these were CPB guys.
Here's the Wall Street Journal.
And I don't want to shock anybody, but Minnesota is not a southern border state, and these were not fucking Canadians they were looking for.
There should be a pause. Why should there be a pause? Because a bunch of people are in the street picking up smoke grenades, starting riots, breaking stuff.
No, they're because of the actions that caused people to be in the streets. These people weren't doing this the week before. They weren't doing any of this shit before Renee Good was killed. Again, this is a Washington problem. And if Republicans want to talk shit about, Washington's the problem in all these situations, and then as soon as Trump gets in, it's the exact opposite, that he's the fucking messiah and the cure for everything. And then they're surprised when he fucks up repeatedly, sends fuck-ups to fuck up on his behalf when he's too busy golfing to do his own personal fuck-ups. And then the citizenry decides enough already, you cannot, they're not the instigators. They're not agitators. Now, I will say, fuck Don Lemon and his little bullshit church stunt. I will say that. But, you know, that was an act of irritation. Very low rung on its bullshittery. But this is violence. A person died. Another woman died just a couple weeks ago. So that's why. That's why time for ICE to pause in Minneapolis.
Into megaphones at hotels to keep agents who they think are staying there, may not even be there, from
They're there.
sleeping at night,
They're there.
to kick people out of the country who've broken our laws we all voted on.
Yeah, but other administrations, like I said, have been able to do that without killing American citizens in the process.
Why should we pause? Because
they obviously don't know what they're doing, and they're untrained, and they're looking at civilians, their fellow Americans, as enemy combatants and treating them as such, which means they are not qualified to police the streets of America. This is this is one of these situations like, where does this fall into protect and serve?
pause necessary. They do this all the time. I saw it. The cause is righteous. Let the investigation.
No. You can't lay it off on the cause, fuckface. It's like if I know there's if an escaped convict breaks into a home and there's a family in the home, and my solution is burn the house down, and the family dies, but the cause of getting the bad guy because he was a terrible person was just. Would you buy that? The cause becomes immaterial if your tactics are so ineffective and shitty that they create more damage than what they're trying to solve.
Play out. We have got to fix what was 4 years of lawlessness with the prior administration.
Yeah, but if you can't do it without killing U.S. citizens, how is this any different than Lake and Riley? I mean, the Biden administration, you could argue, was trying to save lives by allowing people asylum. Because people were, women were being trafficked and raped and children were being bought and sold. And so you let people in to protect them, at least until such time as you can relocate them to their home country or get them a sponsor here in the United States. You're doing it for the good of all of them. And then some people slip through. And as you're, trying to dig those people up, and one of them does something terrible and it ends up killing a U.S. citizen, that becomes the cause celeb. You write the Republicans name an entire bill after Lake and Riley, because she's an American citizen who died. Because the policy that you didn't like, you think led inexorably to her death. Same thing here, stupid, except this was active. The Biden administration didn't send somebody with a weapon to kill Lake and Riley. That's what's different here. That's why it's an active measure as opposed to, like passive disregard, which seems to be the biggest, the idea that even Caroline Leavitt hasn't postulated the idea that Biden allowed people in the country because he wanted them to kill American citizens.
That allowed countless millions of illegal immigrants into
You can't count them because they don't exist.
the country.
It's because they don't exist.
Many of, not all, but many of whom came here to commit crimes. Again, I saw it. Don't try to bullshit me. I saw it from the other side.
Okay, name 6 of them. You were deputy director of the FBI. Show me a list of 100,000 people that you were pulling for being violent criminals. Of the 25 million you say got into the fucking country. This has always been a lie. It will always be a lie. It's the laziest of lies, and they can't even try to back it up.
They tried to derail us too.
Who's they, motherfucker?
Exact same tactic. Here's the tactic. It's very simple. They use an incident like this.
Oh, well, that's an easy solve then. Don't create incidents like this.
To garner public outrage.
Why would the public be outraged? The cause is just.
They use their outlets to magnify public outrage. They
don't have to magnify public outrage. They are mirroring or showing public outrage. Also, why wouldn't you be outraged? You have yet to explain why people wouldn't be outraged at this situation. Fucking NRA gun nuts are outraged at this, you shithead.
The doomers and the black pillars and the...
This is the maggots who are mad. This is his job right now, is to shit on them. You know, he's trying to spackle shut all those cracks I keep talking about between MAGA and the president.
Republicans to then say, oh, look, I was a 3-time Trump voter and everything's gonna, this is nonsense. I didn't vote for this. Most of those people never voted for Trump ever. They're totally
Yeah, they did.
full of shit.
No, they voted for him.
They never.
But go ahead and tell all these people that said they voted for Trump aren't really Trump voters because they've given up on him because they're insufficiently loyal. They really love that one. They loved it after you released that fucking Epstein memo and the whole like hostage video you did with Patel about Epstein killing himself. They loved it then. They'll love it now.
They did this with us. Every single little thing, if it was a hiccup, they would try to use it to discredit what was an incredible.
This isn't a hiccup. 2 Americans are dead. Do you see why even like the gun rights advocates people are starting to pile on this and go, wait a fucking second? This isn't a hiccup, you dumb son of a bitch. And maybe regarding it as a hiccup is indicative of why you were hired in the first place. Maybe you are part of that subset of a subset of a subset of particular shitheads that the maggotry amongst the administration thinks this guy is so fucking dumb and so fucking in on it that he'll let any of this shit slide. He'll follow orders. He'll suck up. He'll whatever line we give him, he'll float out there, and we can count on him to shelve any morals or beliefs he pretended to have at one point on our behalf. Fuck you.
Incredible record we had and
had. Yeah, what do you mean? Had until 2 Americans were murdered?
Probably the best year the FBI under this administration, under any administration's ever had.
Based on what? Honest to God. If it was, why'd you quit? Why'd you need help? Why'd you need why'd you need training wheels? What? I'm so looking forward to this fucknut having a show again. Jesus Christ.
Look at this is from CBS. Imagine how much pain it must have caused CBS to write this story.
Oh, because they're now controlled by the Trump administration and they're supposed to carry his water for him, but they can't in certain circumstances no matter what they try.
The murder rate plummeted more than 20% in the U.S. last year, the largest drop on record, study shows.
Yeah, okay, real quick. Oh, boy. If I may, I know I'm going a little bit late, kids, but I hope that's okay. Let's see. CBS. Murder rates plummeted. Let's see, here we go. This is, okay. Murders plummeted more than 20% in 2025 from the year before, the single largest one-year drop on record. Again, 20%. Keep in mind that anytime somebody is showing you a percentage, but not the whole number, there will be a yeah, but in your future. And it might be the lowest murder rate in the U.S. since 1900. A study released Thursday by the Council on Criminal Justice found the annual crime rate report analyzed data from 40 large cities across the United States for 13 different crime types, including murder, carjacking, theft, and drug offenses. By the way, none of these cities, the vast majority are blue, if you know, and they didn't plummet because the president sent in a bunch of extra soldiers to stand on the corners like Washington, D.C. The annual crime trends report analyzed data from 40 large cities, 13 different crime types, blah, blah. Alongside homicides, which dropped 21% from 2024, carjackings have declined 61% since 2023, while shoplifting is down 10% since 2024. In general, the overall crime rate declined, with violent crimes at or below levels seen in 2019, which was the next big spike. The analysis found, or drop rather, drug offenses were the only category that rose during this period, even while sexual assault remained even. Well, it's popular amongst the administration. So researchers point toward multiple reasons for the large drop in homicides, but caution that identifying decisive factors with certainty is challenging. Senior research specialist Ernesto Lopez, lead author of the report, said that while the overall reduction in crime, especially homicide, is welcome news, he noted homicide rates had been steadily dropping since the late 2000s, prior to a notable spike in 2020. Who was president in 2020? Everything had been going down until 2020. And I don't remember who was president then, but we'll look it up afterwards. I'm sure it's on Wikipedia. It is possible that these rates reflect a longer-term downward trend punctuated by periods of elevated homicides. Notable spike in 2020. The cities, which included New York, Philadelphia, Omaha, Omaha, Nebraska, just to be clear, and Raleigh, North Carolina, among others, were selected based on the availability of crime statistics at the time of data collection in early January 2026. While data varies between cities, researchers said there were 25% fewer homicides in 2025 compared to 2019, with rates dropping in 27 of 35 cities in the sample. Richmond, Virginia saw a drop of 59%. Okay, so how many people were in fucking Richmond, Virginia? Los Angeles saw a drop of 39%. New York City dropped by 10%. Homicide rates. And LA, by the way, nice work, Karen Bass. There were no American troops in there, or any National Guard troops or any of that shit helping police murder in the city, which extends well beyond the 2-block area where ICE and those guys were downtown for a bit. Homicide rates in some cities remain stable, and several other cities saw reductions of under 5%. Atlanta Police Chief Darren Scheierbaum said Tuesday at a news conference that the city has seen a dramatic decrease in shootings since 2022. He said the department recorded over 100 homicides in 2025 for the first time since before the COVID-19 pandemic. Data recorded a drop of 14% in Atlanta's murders in 2025 from the previous year. Remember that big group that Trump sent FBI guys to stop murders in Atlanta? Me neither. Scheierbaum said a fair number of murders in Atlanta were the result of an escalating dispute and called on the community to consider conflict resolution. This was beef killings. A group of criminal justice experts convened by CCJ had varied answers as to what caused the precipitous drop in homicides, but they were generally in agreement that the stabilization of routines, an influx of COVID-19 relief funds, and program intervention were strong drivers. Stabilization of routines, an influx of COVID-19 relief funds, and program intervention were strong drivers. Literally everything the Republicans are against. Many cities focused enforcement and prevention on a small number of neighborhoods and groups driving a large share of the shootings, improved shooting investigations, and got the courts moving again. Because again, they were shut down for a while because of COVID, and once the courts got up again, people who did this stuff were caught and put away. And during this period of time, they were running around escalating and shooting more people because they weren't processed properly, because they had all these limitations on getting people into court and all this other stuff. He added that informal guardianship returned to the streets, saying bystanders and community presence can help diffuse conflicts before they escalate. This is mostly in African-American neighborhoods and in cities. That's where they use these kind of interventions most of the time. But national averages can hide what is happening in some neighborhoods. The key question is what neighborhoods are sustaining gains and which are not. It's largely about spillover. So, back to this dipshit. Hold on. Because of COVID funds and community intervention and the normalization of routines and the courts simply opening again post-COVID.
I think that was
Sometimes it takes 2 years to investigate a homicide and actually get a conviction, and that happened a bunch too.
Freaking accident?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the policies this year, shithead.
That was due to border control.
Nope.
Summer heat. Our operation.
Sorry. Oh, that you called it summer heat. Yeah, the Border Patrol had nothing to do with this. Nothing.
On violent crime. Our enhanced violent crime posture. Turns out when you get violent criminals off the street, violent crime doesn't happen as much. It's not a...
Yeah, that's why the courts reopening and regular order happening again after a pandemic when everybody was shut down and there was a delay in processing and all kinds of other stuff. And every limitation was put on law enforcement effectively because they couldn't just go out and hunt people down the way they did, and people wearing masks all the fucking time.
Freaking mystery. Yet every single time there's a little hiccup, you hear the doomers, the black pillars, the weak-kneed Republicans, and the left-wing media all quoting each other, massaging each other.
Or it could be that they're all looking at the same facts and they have a similar reaction to facts.
We're just sharing each other's bullshit articles. Watch. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's an Epic Times article, some statistics they got on the FBI that they wrote. 35% increase in espionage arrests, 78% increase in China-related espionage arrests, 112%
Yeah, because there's like 3 people one year and 5 people the next year.
increase in agent applications.
Yeah, do you have some real numbers?
20% drop in a nationwide murder rate, 20% increase in...
Again, largely due to life normalizing after COVID over a period of time.
FBI arrests related to the 764 network that abuses children.
Right, so I guess 80% of that was done under Biden, is your point?
640 individuals detained for conducting terrorist attacks.
Detained for conducting terrorist attacks. Individuals disrupted, you fucking... Detained? Disrupted, meaning you got them before they did it, which is what the FBI is supposed to do, but they still haven't done it yet.
Man, again, as I said in my tweet 2 weeks ago, my ex-post, I'm not going to over-explain everything. I'm going to put
You're not going to explain anything, shithead.
this stuff out there, and you guys can form your own opinions.
No, that's not how this works at all. You are in the business of opinions. Your facts are wrong. Your facts are lies. That's why you use percentages most of the time. And when they show the hard number, it's because the percentage change isn't impressive. Because you only did 640, which is down 8% or some shit.
Those are the freaking numbers. You like them or you don't like them.
Those aren't the numbers. Those are the percentages. If you put the numbers up, yeah. Hold on one second. I'm gonna do something real quick. Let's see. Take this. I'm gonna copy this right here. Okay. And then where did that go? I don't know if I'll save that for later. I'm gonna, just between you and me, between now and tomorrow's show, I'm gonna look up the actual numbers that go along with this Epic Times article, so we know. Because I believe in doing a thorough job.
FBI arrests related to my ex-post. I'm not going to over-explain everything.
Because you can't.
Put this stuff out.
And you're stupid.
And you guys...
Oh, thanks for the 666. Yeah, there's never been a better time to help me buy 666 Fifth Avenue. It's never a bad time.
Form your own opinions. Those are the freaking numbers. You like them or you don't like them. It's up to you. People who like them don't need a manifesto. People who don't like them aren't going to like anything because they're doomers, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so why explain how little you understand of how anything works?
Here, this New York Times article makes me, this one makes me laugh. It's one of my favorites. This is what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. I just can feel it. I can feel it. Here it comes.
A year inside Kash Patel's FBI. The doomers love this one. This is about our massive personnel changes. And I mean...
Yeah, including you only working 10 months because you're a fuck-up.
Massive. But you probably never heard about that.
Sure we did. They were purging people they saw as disloyal.
The New York Times writes about it like it's total chaos.
45 current and former employees on the changes that they they say are undermining the agency and making America less safe.
The place is less safe, the United States. Based on what?
Based on you taking people who actually know what the fuck they're doing out of the position where they were doing good work. And ignoring threats.
The murder rate, wrong. Crime rate?
Yeah, that's not you guys. That's not the FBI. The FBI has nothing to do with the murder rate. The only time the FBI comes into play is if the murders are committed by somebody who crossed state lines to do it and then went and crossed state lines to do another one. Because states can extradite you from another state if you're arrested or go look for you in another state with their permission without the FBI working into it. So that has nothing to do with anything. Most murders are like neighborhood based.
Wrong. Counter-terrorists, wrong on that. What about counterintelligence arrests? Wrong on that too. They're all at record highs. What the are you talking about?
Because espionage isn't a direct threat that harms people personally. Like they're not bombers and that kind of terrorist. And your percentage change is not impressive when you look at the number of people that you're only catching the people that you know of and you're missing the obvious that could build and metastasize and become more dangerous, that's what they're worried about because it's their job to worry about it. But you don't give a shit because you had that job and you quit because you're lazy.
You're supposedly a data-driven journalism outlet, right? They're going to do the same thing on this Minnesota incident as well.
No, they're not. No, they're going to break it down with the real details. They're going to follow the investigation.
As you can see, even I notice I'm using some left-wing sources on this. Here's the BBC, the Beeb, not exactly known for a conservative bent. Illegal U.S.-Mexico border crossings hit lowest level in over 50 years.
Right, and you bring it to zero, and yet the murder rate in those areas in Texas and other places that are on the border remains relatively static. How about fentanyl? Is it harder to get fentanyl in the United States? Is it more expensive? Nope.
Promise you, they will ignore all of this, just like they ignored the numbers from the Bureau.
Also, that's from October.
I just told you about that we produced over the last year to sabotage everything we did, they did. ICE and CBP are doing that.
No, they can't sabotage it. They were just pointing out the number of crossings is at an all-time low. But yet the deportations don't match what the Biden or Obama administration did. Even interior to the country, not just at the border, which is what they always use to excuse it. Like, well, they turn people away at the border, but they can't say that because they don't want you to know that the vast majority of people that came in were immediately excused to leave the country. But even inside the interior of the country, the Biden administration, the Obama administration removed more dangerous criminals and undocumented people than Trump is. He's just doing it in a way that kills American citizens in the process.
That is why they are going to never let this go. And you should do nothing to propagate their narratives. Accountability.
You mean like put their headlines up and repeat what they said?
Accountability matters. It's a must, of course. But accountability should be based on inputs and facts, not me.
Right. So give me the hard numbers and not percentage changes because it's going to look pitiful if you do.
Media narrative bullshit. Whew. Well, that was a short little sample of what's coming on Monday.
Yes. More defensive nonsense based on fart air like you sold before, but after spending 10 months at the FBI, you've gained no depth, internal wisdom, awareness. You clearly proved that you sat in your office at the FBI staring at the walls doing fuck all, which by the way, I take as a plus. The fact that he was like useless while he was there is better, I think, that the FBI operated beyond and around him. So much so that, again, he had to have training wheels. I didn't want this asshole there in the first place. So the idea that he just sat there with his thumb up his ass is a plus. But it certainly didn't educate him in any way to the reality of the experience at all. And it certainly didn't change his ability to bullshit everybody on his show.
Big show, Monday, February.
Lame, boring, stupid, already, repetitive, same shit, different day. And after 10 months at the FBI, no insight, no understanding of the depth of the issues, no material understanding of the mechanics that were there. The dude barely paid attention while he was there. That's all I'm saying. And with that, I leave you till the morning. Well, tomorrow afternoon. I'll be on tomorrow afternoon. Much love to you guys. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Thanks for sticking around with me. Thank you guys for the super chats and to our Patreon supporters. I can't tell you how much it means to me. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for the gift memberships that happened today. Incredible, just wonderful, par excellence. I feel like, I'm going to send this song out to Dan Bongholio, and only he knows why. See you tomorrow.
Whoa, I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, owie.
That's actually Dan Bongholio singing.
I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods.
It's off his third album. when he sold out.
Boink, boink, dooby-doo. You know what I wanna do. Yay! Boink, boink, dooby-doo. You know what I wanna do.
That's Kash Patel singing background. It's true.
And vests and thongs. Woo, I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, ow. Boink, boink, dooby-doo. You know what I wanna do. Hey, boink, boink, dooby-doo. You know what I wanna do. What's up?
I like wood.
So smash that like and don't be shy. Subscribe now or blink and cry.
Deeper and longer.
What?
Wow.
I had a beat off.
Action replays in magnified portion.
They just explode.
Action replays in magnified portion. The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
To me, Corona means Italy. Purimicia. Purimicia. Free health care for illegal. And then roll out. And then roll out. Our army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Salt water in their veins. You have that salt water. Don't let the doctors change it. Keep it. Because there's nothing like it. There's no blood like it. The world is a region. The world is a region. The world is a region. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They say, that's amazing. How did you do that?
They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately.
Voila. Somebody like that can write good.
Michigan gave us Motan. Michigan gave us Motan. We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges. And then they start throwing it. Yosemites, we're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President Mike Pence and his wonderful wife, Karen. When they get not good, not good. when you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy, they had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports, it's called baseball in particular.